Hey everybody. My wife and I just purchased this little Suzuki back here to tow behind our motorhome. I've had to put a few little parts on it, door handles and inner door handles and things like that. And anyway, the back of it seems to be a little bit wiggly. I know it needs a set of tires. It's got some really badly rotted Michelin's on it, and I'm going to rectify that soon. However, it seems to wiggle more than just tire wiggle. So I ordered an A-arm for the rear end, and I couldn't find a lot of information and pictures of those A-arms. So I'm going to show you what I bought, and I'm going to show you how I put it in, and we're going to see if that rectifies at least part of the problem. And it may or may not, but anyway, you'll see the installation of that A-arm. Okay, I know that A-arm is probably not the correct terminology for this, and I don't remember what the correct terminology is, but this is what it looks like on the bench. And you'll see when we get underneath the car, it basically hooks here to the frame and here to the frame, and this ball joint goes to the top of a plate on top of the differential. It has a nut on it, and it came with the cotter pin that holds that nut in place once you get that torqued down. I'm going to throw in a little plug here. I don't usually do it, but these guys have really treated me good on some of these parts and really inexpensive. amautoparts.com. They are on YouTube. I don't know if they have their own website, but it's Aftermarket Auto Parts. Shipping was free on everything that I've ordered from them so far, and extremely inexpensive. It's almost hard for me to believe, and I don't know how the quality is. I don't know how this is going to pan out down the road or anything, but it seems like it's a decent looking part. Seems like it'll function for what it's going to do. I don't know how it compares to the one we're going to take out, but we'll certainly take a look at that. But $36 for this piece. I've seen them as high as $118 and free shipping. So we'll see how it fits, and I'll see if it works on reducing the wobble in the back of the car, and let's get with it. Okay, my first step is to get it up on some ramps, or you can use some jack stands, whatever you have. I think it's going to be tall enough here, maybe even too tall. I may have to put something under me to get up in there. But this is what I use. Harbor Freight plastic ramps, and I have got my money's worth out of those as well. They work well. And the chocks in the front. So let's get under there and see what we can see. Okay, we're under here at the rear end. Some of these pictures may be a little bit on the close side. I can't back up anymore with the camera, but nevertheless, this is one end of the arm here, and the other end is, let me see if I can get it, over there, and then it attaches to the differential right there. It's got 4 bolts. Let me see if I can get my hand. 4 bolts right up in here that come off and remove that plate. Then that plate can be reinstalled onto the existing piece, and then the piece can be bolted in right back here and over on the other side like I showed you. The piece that I bought looks very close, if not exact, to the piece that's here. The one discrepancy that I found when I looked for information on this is some show a left and a right. There is only one style, and it has the ball shifted to, if you're looking at it from, and let's see here, let me figure out how to explain this. If you're looking at it from this end, the ball is on the right. If you're looking at it from the top, okay? It's on the right side if you're looking at it from this end, no matter whether it's top or bottom. But nevertheless, it's offset to the right, looking at it this direction, pointing this direction, okay? So when you look them up on the internet, you will find a left and a right. You'll find all kinds of different things. There's only one, I would say that it's considered to be right hand. But nevertheless, this is what it looks like. What it does is it prevents the axle, the differential from twisting. It's basically a torque arm. Prevents the axle from twisting and actually prevents side-to-side motion as well, because the other only part of the suspension are the springs and these torsion bars here. So obviously you can see if you just had springs and these torsion bars with rubber in them here, if you didn't have that thing anchoring it at the top, you would get side to side and rotating motion of your axle if that ball joint is bad up there, which I think may be the case here, but I don't know that to be a fact. I'm going to give it a shot. Like I say, the part was only $36. Only should take me a little while to put it in, and we'll find out. Okay, I just thought I'd take another shot of this from the opposite side, and you can now see how that it bolts in. It's very stiff, so I don't know if... I tried putting a bar under it and moving it to see if there was slack in it, and I couldn't get any movement. But I have some kind of slack or something when I put it in gear, and I've checked the U-joints. I've actually checked the U-joints. There's no slack in the drive shaft here. I just don't know where that's coming from. The only place I can figure is that ball joint up there. So we're going to give this a shot. Okay, here I am underneath, and I'm going to, I decided I'm going to loosen up the 4 bolts on top of the differential and get that plate loose before I dismount it from the frame. I did put some WD-40 on those bolts on the frame. No sense of putting them on the other piece because it goes down into the housing. But anyways, I'm going to take those out, and I don't know if I'll be able... It doesn't look like I'll be able to get the air wrench in there, so I'm going to have to use something else. But anyway, I'll show you what I have when I get that done. Okay, guys, it's a 14 millimeter. I have 1 bolt out on the other side. I have all 4 of them loose. This one here seems to be a little bit obnoxious. But anyways, I got 2 out, and we'll work on this one. Oops, wait a minute. This one. I have a long wrench on here, so but I have a lot of room to work. Yeah, 2 down, 1 more to go. I won't show you the other side. I need to remove this. It's some kind of sensor. I think it may be for cruise control. It's a speed, it's an axle sensor, I believe. It needs to be removed from there before I can take this off. I also wanted to show you when I loosened the bolt, you can see that there was some forward rotation of the differential here. When I go to put that plate back on, I'm going to need to put a jack underneath the front of the differential, I believe, and up in here somewhere, and tilt it up underneath here, and tilt it towards the vehicle to get that plate on. It didn't snap off on me or anything like that. It didn't jump up or anything, but the axle did rotate forward somewhat, just a tiny bit. So just keep that in mind. Now we're going to take that line off there, and we're going to take these 2 bolts out and try and remove the part. Okay, guys, I was able to get the air wrench up in here. I couldn't get those nuts off with the regular 17 millimeter. I didn't have one long enough. And you can get a socket on this side, but the other side you can't get a socket on. So now I've gotten it loosened up. I'm going to put the camera down and get a wrench, take the last one off here. Okay guys, I got this bolt out with no problem. Slid right out. I'm going to go over to this bolt. I've got the nut off it already. By the way, these are 17mm bolt and nut. And I'm going to take this bolt out and remove the part. Okay everybody, while I haven't taken the plate off here yet, you can see that the parts look almost identical. I will say that on the new part, this looks a little beefier here as opposed to here. But this is only welded partially around. This is welded all around. Also, if I go around here to the other side, you will see that this is only welded top and bottom here. And on this one, it's welded all the way around. I don't plan on doing any heavy-duty off-roading or anything, but that may be a concern to somebody who is. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove the plate and reinstall it, clean it, and put it over here on this and see if I can get the new part to fit in there. Okay guys, in the process of taking the plate off here, I was going to show you something real quick. It seems like the only thing that's, I mean, this joint moves so freely that it seems like the only thing that's holding it or giving any kind of rigidity at all is the rubber. I mean, it turns and it just seems real loose, and you can't even move this one over here without the plate on it. So there has got to be some slack in this thing here. I don't know how much without it being loaded, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm going to get on to removing the plate and changing it. Okay gang, it was a little tougher than I had anticipated, but fortunately I had the right tool here, but that piece of crap over there didn't work right. And that tool was too small. But with the help of a BFH, and you all know what that is, I was able to beat the heck out of it and get it off of there. So now let's try remounting it. Okay, I have a deep sink in my garage, fortunately. I also had some engine degreaser, put it on there a while ago, and I'm going to clean this part up before I put it back on. I don't like putting dirty stuff together, but it's just me. So let me get that done. Okay, now that I got that all cleaned up, I stuck it down on the new part, put the castle nut on there, and I'm going to proceed to tighten that nut down with the air wrench and put the pin in it. You'll notice that this little ridge here goes towards that way, away from the loop of the piece here. I'm sure that once I get this on here, I could probably turn that all the way around, but in case I can't, I don't want to make a mistake. So I'm just telling you that up front, so you know. Okay, I got the nut on. I got it torqued down, and I'm ready to reinstall the part. Okay guys, I have the arm up in there. I have both the bolts in, just stuck through, not bolted in. And I want to show you here about, I have my, let me back up. I have my jack here on the front of the differential, and I'm going to pump it up a little bit and show you what I mean about having a little bit of deflection whenever I took this off. There you can see that it dropped down in as I rotated the front of the differential up, and now I can mess with that and get the 4 bolts started there, and once I get all the bolts started, I'll tighten everything up and get back with you. Okay guys, I wanted to show you something here. If this joint is worn out or if this plate is loose, this is what you get. You can see that I'm getting body movement of at least 1/4 of an inch back and forth just pulling on it with my hand. So obviously if that's bad, you're going to get wiggle in the back end and you're going to get rotation of the differential as I'm rotating it with the jack. So anyway, once again, let me get this mounted up. Okay, what I was going to tell you guys at this point is that it takes a lot of jacking the jack up and down and tweaking the front of the differential to get these bolts lined up. You saw that we had side-to-side motion, but we don't have any front-to-back motion, so that requires lifting up there on the jack and back down repeatedly until you can get these lined up. And they all four don't seem to line up at the same time either. Once you've taken it apart. So you put one in, then you got to jack it up and down to get another one in, then you got to jack it up and down to get the other one in. It was a little bit of a struggle, but it's in there. I'm going to tighten everything up and see what we have. Okay, I got all four of these bolts up here tightened down and torqued, and I've got these bolts tightened and torqued. And over here, let me swing around over here. Let's see here. Over there, I have my little bracket put back on. The only thing I would suggest there is to thread that bracket. It's a self-threading screw. Thread it before you put the part back on it, make it a little bit easier. But other than that, it's pretty cut and dry. Just lining up the bolts is the real hassle. Not too bad, just raising the jack up and down. You'll eventually get it. It just takes a lot of it until you get it where you need it. Now we're going to take it out and let you know what happens. Okay, everybody. With the new A-arm installed in there, it seems to have taken all the forward and reverse slack out of when I put the transmission in gear, and when I come to a stop, there seems to be a little play there. That's gone. It's helped the side-to-side by about 50%, and I have to assume that the rest of that is probably the worn-out Michelin tires. Tires are in the works, but I don't have them on there yet, and I'm assuming that will take care of the rest of it. Other than that, it rides real good. Fortunately, I was under it today. I found out I have a brake hose to the left front caliper leaking. So that'll be next on the list. One of these days I'll get caught up on all the stuff on this. But in the meantime, I hope this helps you guys, and thanks for watching.